Tom Cotton is an Army veteran, a senator from the great state of Arkansas, who serves on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Welcome, Senator. Let me first get your reaction to another Ukrainian person, this time an elderly woman killed in an apartment complex. How do you assess the state of the war right now, Senator?
Yeah, Trey, this is just another act of savage barbarism by the Russian military against innocent civilians in Ukraine. It's no wonder that the Ukrainians have fought so ferociously over the last 11 months to defend their own homeland. When you have Vladimir Putin and his military launching missile strikes and killing elderly men and women and little children, as well as grown men and women, you can continue to expect them to fight to the death or to the victory if that's what will allow them to achieve by providing them the weapons they've been asking for so long. I welcome President Biden's decision to provide Abrams tanks, but it's long overdue, and if sent months ago, then perhaps Russia would have never gotten in the position to start shooting missiles at apartment buildings and electrical utilities and other kinds of critical infrastructure.
Senator, what do you attribute that initial hesitancy to, both from Biden but also from Germany? Why were they so reticent to do this?
I think at first, our government, like most governments in Europe, believed that Russia would roll into Kyiv in just a matter of days and topple the government, and they didn't want to take action that would cut off their nose to spite their face, so to speak, to impose sanctions or send weapons to Ukraine that they didn't think would make a difference. It was only after President Zelensky and especially the Ukrainian army stood firm in those first 4 or 5 days last February and fought back the Russian invasion that the West was really shamed into helping Ukraine. But ever since, it's been this timid, frightful fear of escalation by Russia. Russia has been escalating against Ukraine going back 9 years now. And you saw it in the Obama-Biden administration as well, when Barack Obama wouldn't even provide anti-tank missiles, rather than giving them meals ready to eat. And you've seen it replayed over and over and over again, whether it's with anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles, long-range artillery, now tanks, also certain kinds of intelligence that we once did not share and we now do share. The Ukrainians make a request, the Biden administration refuses it. A few months later, we grant it. If we had granted it at the time, perhaps Russia would not have had the success in taking the territory they have already, or Ukraine would have already taken back more territory. That's what we should do right now, is give them the tools to finish the job, to protect their country and win this war so it won't be any more protracted and bloody than it already has become.
All right, Senator, I'm going to switch gears and throw you a curveball, but you went to Harvard, so my guess is you can still hit it. China, we had a general that said he anticipates war. And then we had Mike McCall, who's a high-ranking House Republican, that says he hopes not, but thinks so. How do you assess the likelihood or prospects of a full-blown war with China and our country?
I commend the Air Force general who told his own troopers that they needed to be ready to fight a war against China in the Western Pacific as early as 2025. I might have said maybe as early as next year or even this year because of President Biden's failed policies. I'm sure that generated some controversy in the Biden administration, but his words remind me of what Abraham Lincoln said of U.S. Grant when someone said that U.S. Grant drank too much whiskey, and Lincoln said, well, we need to buy a case for every one of my generals and send it to them because we need more generals like U.S. Grant. I hope that every general and every admiral in our militaries is preparing their troopers to be ready to fight a war against China in the Western Pacific, because I'm afraid that Xi Jinping may go for the jugular sooner rather than later against Taiwan, because, for instance, President Biden keeps saying that we're going to defend Taiwan if he does that, and then immediately walks it back a few hours later, or because he continues to deny that China has been waging a Cold War against us for decades, as opposed to simply trying to win that Cold War against the Chinese communists. The best way to win a war in the Western Pacific against China is to prevent one from ever happening. And the way we do that is to make it clear to the Chinese communists that they cannot win.
Senator Tom Cotton, who knows a thing or two about fighting war, he did it before he got to the House of Representatives. Senator, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. Look forward to seeing you soon.